Time now for a look at what new films are hitting theaters this weekend. We're joined live by film critic Richard Crouse. And Richard, you may have been listening to our weather forecast just a few minutes ago. And so it's a nice weekend, but not a fantastic weekend. So why not stay inside and watch some films? Let's start off with Crimes of the Future.
Yeah, this is the new David Cronenberg film, his first movie in 8 years since Maps to the Stars, and the first one that he actually has written the script for in the last 4 or 5 movies that he's made. So this is pure David Cronenberg, featuring a lot of the things and topics that have preoccupied him in a lot of his other movies like Existence and Crash. That is body modification, how we are changing as the world changes around us, climate change is addressed in here. It's set in the near future where food is a little bit scarce, so people have to find alternatives to that. They find alternatives to sex, all sorts of things here. Lots of ideas here. And I like this movie. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. I wonder, though, if you're not familiar with some of David Cronenberg's other films, if you might feel just a little bit on the outside of this one. But it's a fascinating look at a time set in the near future that in some ways kind of feels like our own.
All right, some fascinating themes, as you mentioned, there covered in that film. Next up is The Righteous.
The Righteous is directed, written, and stars Mark O'Brien. We know him. He's a Canadian actor from the Republic of Doyle. He's on City on the Hill with Kevin Bacon on the new Perry Mason show on HBO. And he has created a movie that's a psychological thriller about an ex-priest, played by Henry Czerny, living with his wife, played by the great Mimi Kuzik, and they've just lost their daughter in a terrible accident. And then one day, a mysterious stranger, played by Mark O'Brien, shows up on their doorstep. At first, he seems polite and friendly, and then things take a more sinister turn. And this is a little movie with a lot of big ideas about sin and atonement woven into the script. Extremely well made. It's interesting stuff. It's on the big screen right now. You have to go to a theater to see it. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars because I just liked the steady pace of this. It's a slow burn, but boy, does it pay off near the end.
All right, and it seems like one that'll work out really well on the big screen, too, so 3.5 stars right there. And finally from you today, as we head into the weekend, Foxhole.
Yeah, this is on VOD, so you can stay home and watch this one from wherever you legally rent or download movies. And it's an interesting idea for a movie. So you have 3 wars: the American Civil War, the Iraq War, and World War I, portrayed in 3 different segments here. In each one, though, it's the same actors playing soldiers from one war to the next as they grapple with moral and ethical issues. The ultimate point of this movie is that war is futile. It's an anti-war film, most certainly. And the style of the shooting is interesting. You've got sepia tone that pervades over the Civil War stuff that makes it kind of looks like a Ken Burns documentary. Black and white for the World War I footage, and then more frenetic shooting for the Iraq War footage. Unfortunately for me, the story didn't quite take flight, although there are some shots in here that once seen won't soon be forgotten. So I give it 3 out of 5 stars. It's an interesting and audacious and I think very ambitious idea. It just doesn't quite all come together, but it is worth a look.
All right, 3 movies and nothing lower than 3 stars. Great stuff. A lot to choose from this weekend.
That's right.
Richard Crouse, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.